So I am hoping that everything works out well here with these two devices we've got going. Okay, perfect. So welcome to Friday. Super excited to talk to you guys about funding. So in the last couple of days, I've had a few people send over questions about buying flips. So that's a great sign because it means you're still thinking about it, which is great because there's a lot of things going on. But I'm here to tell you there will always be a lot of things going on. There are always going to be things that are going to pull your attention in other places. So if there's something that you're wanting to do and you're still thinking about flipping, go for it. Do it. It's worth it. So if you don't know me, my name is Amber Miller. I have been flipping houses. I started in 2008. So I am a person who started doing house flipping when most people would have been like, probably not such a good idea. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess you could say, if I would have waited, I thought about this the other day. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. If I would have not started flipping houses back in 2008 and I would have waited until the world said, hey, maybe now is a better time, or the market had started to recover, that would have put me in a position where I would have said probably like 2012, 2011. So between 2008 and 2012, I did about 45 houses. So if I had waited until everybody else thought it was a good time to be doing this, I would have missed out on 4 years of houses and profits and experience and knowledge. So that's kind of the perspective I like to bring to this. If you follow me, you'll know that I also don't ever encourage people to think that this is a get rich quick thing. I don't. It's not. And if anybody ever tells you that, run away. This is not true. It isn't necessarily something that's passive either. So there's different types of investing strategies that people use and employ. Some people like to lend money and not have anything to do with projects, renovations, budgets, that type of thing. That's passive income. Flipping is not. So if any of that doesn't appeal to you, just know that up ahead, know that going forward, that there is a lot of those elements to it. And if, again, that doesn't appeal to you, probably not a good fit. So I've been getting a lot of questions in the last 3 days. I wasn't even going to do a session on this today, but I thought it was a good idea about funding your flips. So there's a lot of people who believe different things about funding flips and how you buy them. And I was one of these people as well early on. And so I'm going to talk about different options, just really high level, but I'm going to encourage you as well, if you're thinking about buying a flip, the best thing you can do is actually talk to other people who are investing and find out how they're purchasing their properties, and then also connect with local real estate investment groups. And even if you don't have one locally, if you have one in your state, if they have a website, they'll usually have a contact information. Or they'll have like a directory of people. They'll usually have lenders in there. And a lot of times the lenders work outside of that specific metropolitan area. So for example, we have lenders here that would be on the directory for like the RIA group in Minneapolis. But we also have them lending in different parts of the state as well. So just to give you guys an example. But so there's a myth about flipping houses, and I was guilty of this myth, believing this as well, in that the only way you can buy a house to flip is if you have cash. You need cash to, number one, buy the house, and then you need cash to, number two, fix the house. And that's not true. Is that an easy way to do it? Yes. And the reason it's easy is because it makes everything very clean. It minimizes your expenses. So obviously, if you have that resource available to you, that might be an option. Not everybody has that resource. I know I didn't when I got started. So my story is a bit unique in that I got to get really creative, because when I was going to talk to banks and lenders, I was talking to people who had no interest back in 2007 and 2008 in lending to people who were wanting to buy houses, flip them, and sell them, especially when you had no experience. So there was that. So my level of creativity brought me to a place where I was using a cash advance from a credit card, and I took a 401k loan. I used to have a corporate career. I had a 401k. So those are the two sources that I used to put together funding for my first flip. I don't necessarily recommend that for somebody. I'm just sharing my own personal strategy. For me, that's what got me started. And for me, that's what made me able to do that very first flip. For other people, there's a couple different options. Mortgages are goofy right now because there's a lot of lending changes. But if you have good credit, you might want to check and see what options are available to you. You might want to see if you can get another mortgage. Some people do like that route. Some people use that. Some people don't. It's just hard to know what's the best option for you if you don't even know what's available. So I'm not saying you have to have your credit run and have somebody check out what you qualify for, but talk to a lender, talk to a broker, find out what's even a possibility. There's people I know who've used equity lines, either with their own property or with rental properties to buy a house to flip. That can always be an option for you. One of the things that I really value now is hard money lending relationships. And so there's hard money lenders who lend all over the country. They typically do a structure that requires you to still bring some money to the transaction. So they might do a 70% or an 80% loan based on the purchase price and the repairs, or some of them will do it based off the ARV or the after repair value of what you think the project will be worth when it's done. So they're all a little bit different, but if you Google hard money lenders and your state, you will find the people that you need to talk to. And all it takes is either looking on their website, they'll tell you what their parameters are, they'll tell you where they lend, they'll tell you what qualifications you need to have. And then also, if you feel like you want to talk to somebody and figure out, if I'm not there right now, what do I need to do to get there? That's something that you can use that's helpful as well. So, and then the other thing is find out from your community, either through other people who are investing or again through those the investor groups like your real estate investment associations. We've got 2 of them here locally. But find out from those people who the banks are that are lending in town, because we have a couple of banks that haven't changed anything about their lending for flips in the last 7 weeks. And fortunately, they're both lending relationships that I've built over the years. So I'm established with them. So there's no issues with getting financing for flips, which is great because that's what my business is. So if something was to happen with that, it would be catastrophic for me, right? I would have to pivot, come up with something different. Fortunately, I don't have to do that because I have those relationships. So those are your options. Talk to different lenders. All of this can be done now. You guys don't need to have, a 725 credit score to start talking to people. You don't need to have a house that you're ready to buy to talk to the lenders. In fact, talking to them first will give you an idea about what you even qualify for. And that can help determine which market and what type of houses you're looking at, because if you don't know the numbers, it's really tough to know. Like if you don't know what you're going to qualify for or what you need, then it's really, really difficult. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. If you don't know what you qualify for, then you don't even know where to be looking for houses. So, and of course, when you're getting started, always think on the smaller side, because it's not about who can get to the finish line faster. It's about who can start to do the things that are going to move them in the direction that they want to be in. So for years, I always felt like I was a slow turtle and that I just was like, I would watch people around me who did things much faster. And I would watch people who flipped a handful of houses and then moved into like $1 million new construction. I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. Like, why isn't that what's happening for me? But it just wasn't my path or kind of business. And that's just how it goes. So nothing wrong with slow and steady at all. Trust me. Thanks for watching, you guys.